Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for today's episode because I am joined by someone special, the author of the young adult dystopian novel called Snowglobe, Soyoung Park.
Hi, thank you for having me and thank you for coming here to have a talk about Snowglobe, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share about Snowglobe with Polish readers.
Of course, this is my dream. This is amazing, so exciting. Snowglobe is a really successful book around the world. That was your debut, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is, congratulations. This is a huge thing.
Thank you.
To be so successful with the first book. And it immediately got recognition. It won a very prestigious award and got attention of publishers around the world. And now it's translated into over 10 languages. And now Polish readers will get the chance to read it. So before we start, are you enjoying your visit in Poland? Do you like it here?
Sure, definitely. Because it's like until a couple of months ago, I wouldn't have imagined that I would be here, sitting here with you, talking about Snowglobe for Polish readers, right? And so I arrived yesterday, and then we didn't have much time to explore the city, but I definitely experienced pierogi, which is the Polish dumplings, and we have dumpling in Korea, and then I found it like in a way it's very similar to ours, but in other way it's very different from ours. So I found it very amusing, and then I hope that if you have any Korean grocery stores around your town, you should definitely try the Korean dumplings, and please tell me what's the difference between those dumplings from each other.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. I'm going to keep that in mind. And it's good that you tried them because every Polish person is going to ask you about it. We are very serious about our cuisine. Did you travel around the Europe before you got here?
Oh, yes. So I've been to Prague, Czech, and I went to Austria, and I've been to Vienna and Innsbruck, and I am here. So I was planning to just take a little trip around those two countries. Then one day I've got email from Amelia, and then she said that, Polish version is coming out around that time. And I was like, wait, I'm going to be in Czech. So why don't I go there and have all the interviews and have a meet and greet with Polish readers in person? And she was like, oh my God, that's a very lucky coincidence. So that's how it went, and that's how I'm here.
And that's amazing that you found the energy and time, because traveling also takes, it is tiring sometimes, but people who love the book really want to meet you. So that's really nice.
Well, I feel so honored that I could be here because it all happened because you, all the medias and YouTubers wanted me to be here and have a talk about it. So I really need to thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. So this is a dystopian young adult novel, like I said in the beginning. Did you always knew you wanted to write in this genre?
Well, to be honest, I wanted to be a writer because I loved Harry Potter so much. But the part that I loved so much about the novel was like the Hogwarts. So I love that interesting school life in Hogwarts. So I thought that I would write something like that. I've never imagined that I would write some dystopian novels, but after all, I think I'm the right fit for it, because when I think about and when I'm building up a dystopian world, I feel so safe because it's not real. I'm making up a fictional world, right? But it inevitably reflects on what we are going through right now, so I can show the readers what is the matter with us, but from a very safe distance, and it makes me relieved, because if I read something very realistic from fictional stories, I feel like overwhelmed and hurt in a way, but enjoying like sci-fi dystopian novel makes me like, oh, that's not our story. So I feel very safe, but at the same time, I can reflect on what's going on with our own world. So that's what I like about dystopian novels.
Oh yes, but because this is we're not living in these times, but it is kind of a reflection of real life issues. I need to ask you this question. I think everybody is asking you that question everywhere you go, but I want it to be out there for Polish readers too. Can you talk to me about? I think I know the answer already. The whole idea about the watching YouTube. I think it started the idea for Snowglobe.
Yes, so it was around 2018 or 2019. Vlogging got very popular in Korea, but until then, I wasn't interested in watching vlogs because I thought that, oh, well, they are like, to me, they're like nobody because they weren't like movie stars or billboards, singers. They were YouTubers, which means they are not on the television. So I was like, why do people spend their time to watch some ordinary people's lives? And I have majored in media in college, so I thought that I needed to know what was going on in that media industry. So I browsing some YouTube videos, and then I got stuck with this certain YouTuber, and then I saw her got proposed by her fiance, and then I was like, oh, this feels very weird because I felt like I was there with them, observing all the details. But even with my best friend, I cannot be there when she gets proposed, right? So, this is why people feel close to the influencers and to the YouTubers. So I thought that, what if we keep going in this direction nonstop? I mean, like being famous and being popular by the public has become the most important element of the world. What would it be like? I wanted to see that future. So that's how I came up with the idea of Snowglobe.
Oh yes, and that's very interesting because you're right that a couple of years ago the proposals are a big thing, were the big thing on YouTube, but now people sometimes even have videos of like pregnancies, of it really got to a point. And so how long did the story of Snowglobe formed in your head?
So around that time, 2018, 2019, I came up with the core idea of Snowglobe, but I didn't start to writing it because at the time I wanted to make it as a web novel, which is like the comics that you can see on your smartphone. It's very popular in Korea. So I had a partner who I was discussing this idea with, and then we thought that it might take us so many times to build up all the visual images for comics. So I just kept it in my idea pocket. And then later on, I found a novel contest, which was the one that Snowglobe was awarded with. And they said they were looking for a novel just like The Hunger Games, Twilight's Maze Runner. So I was like, oh my God, they are calling out for me. So I should write something, anything. And I have only 1 month left until the deadline. So I was like, what did I have? And then, oh yes, this world, Snowglobe. But at that point, I didn't have any plot or characters. So I came up with all the plots and characters within 1 month. And then obviously I didn't finish the whole manuscript, but because they require a certain amount of manuscripts. But anyway, I did it within 1 month, and I was so proud of myself.
That is impressive.
Yes, but I didn't write it for like getting any award or something. I just wanted to write something that I want to read, and the miracle happens. So here I am.
Yeah, that was a good motivation. Not only the reason, but also the motivation to keep writing. That's great. But I can imagine that creating a dystopian world must be kind of challenging because you have to come up with everything new. Even if it's based on real life, everything is different. So what would you say was the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge was the balance between those two worlds, because Snowglobe is divided into two totally different worlds, which is one of them is that frozen wasteland, and the other one is that perfect, ideal, soul warm city. And I needed a balance for the people in the book, because if the people in the book felt like, why do I have to give up my privacy for nothing? Or why do I have to work 10 hours a day for nothing? I couldn't make them think that way. So I provide them with a reasonable reason. Like for the people who lives inside of Snowglobe, they give up their privacy for a warm and wealthy life. And for the people who live in the open world, they think that, the opportunity to become a actor open to everyone, so they think that it's fair. And so that's why people think like, one day maybe I can be an actor myself, so it's fair. And then also at the same time, the people in the open world think that I don't have to like live dramatic life to maintain the viewership, so I don't have to go through heartbreaking breakups, or I don't have to commit murders to have my show goes on. So in a way, they feel kind of relief with the harsher life outside. So yeah, that kind of balance, that was what I thought that was the most important thing to build up this dystopian world.
Yes, and that is actually a very interesting concept because we follow a main character that actually really wants to be inside the snow globe, but we see the dilemma there. You always have to give up something. You always lose something to have something else. And on what side would you want to be if you were in this world?
Yeah, well, if I could choose, that would definitely be a director, because what they do is very similar to what I do right now. But ironically, I don't want to make any crime shows like Jo Mi-ryu's show, even though I wrote this kind of dystopian, brutal novel. But if I had to deal with real lives of real people, then I wouldn't want make like dark shows. I would want to make something like Friends, which is the legendary American sitcom, and which I love the most. I want to make those kind of show like full of friendship, love, and humanity. That would be the best.
Yeah, I think so too. Although also a good job is I forgot the word, but the person who runs the train, he kind of sees the inside and the outside. He isn't separated from his family, because I think that is one of the biggest dilemmas also about being in the snow globe, that actors get separated from their families. That is a hard choice to make, because you only get to see them on special occasions. So yes, you mentioned that you majored in media in college. So how helpful was your real life knowledge about media in creating this world, basically run by media corporation?
Well, the most important lesson that I've learned from college was that I don't know how to say this. It might sound so strong, but media is kind of fake. I mean, I'm not saying that all of them are delivering fake news. It means that even if they try their best to deliver the facts, it's just not impossible, because they can only deliver what they think are important, and then they have to choose between what to show and what to just cut it off, because they cannot deliver every facts of the world. So it's curated. And so I learned that we cannot trust one certain media, we have to cross-check. But in this world, there's only one media group, so they controls all the informations, and then that's where their power comes from. And because they don't have any competition, so they don't have to worry about what if people finds out the real reality, the truth about ourselves or about the world. They're just like kind of like dictator, almost a dictator who controls all the information, and that's the most important source of this world. So yeah, I think what I've learned from college helped me building up this corrupted media group. In a way, that's what I can say.
Yes. I want to ask you about your writing process now, because some writers say they think about a book for a long time before writing it. I know the story about Snowglobe 1, but you know, you're gonna have more books, also Snowglobe 2, right? But other writers say they just go straight into it. So do you have a process?
Well, I think I'm in the middle because I don't write the very first sentence of the book if I don't know how it's going to end. So I have to know the main plot before I start the story. And every time I start a new chapter, I also need to know what I'm going to show within this certain chapter. So I can say that I'm a plotter, but at the same time, I also leave so many details to the characters. Sometimes I experience that the characters has their own will, and then they say things and they act the way they want, not the way I want.
Oh.
So I really enjoy that moment. So I don't like set up all the details for each chapter, but I always try to know the like brief image of the story.
And do you first create the characters or the world?
I always create the world first, because if I don't know about the world, I cannot come up with characters because I don't know how they live in that world if I don't know about the world, right? There was a one time that I tried to build character first, and she was a very attractive and very strong character. So I really enjoyed writing it. But at some point, I was like, well, I want to make a new world. Like, this isn't enough. So I put that on hold, and then I came up with another idea so that I could build up another world. So yeah, I always start with world, and I think that works for me.
Having a favorite character and having a character you enjoy writing the most are not always the same character, because sometimes, like for me, I am also a writer. I like writing bad guys. I don't like them, but I like writing them because there's drama and that's exciting. Do you have a favorite, and the favorite you want you like writing the most in your own novel?
Yes. So, okay. In Snowglobe 1, I really enjoyed writing the director Zocharett, because she's a badass.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm not saying that I'm such a good girl, but anyway, I've never lived like that, so it was like a new experience for me. It felt like I'm living another life as another person, so I really enjoyed describing her. But I cannot say that she is my favorite character, because my favorite character is, I cannot say her name because it will be a spoiler, but she appearances in chapter 3. And she plays very important role for Chobam because she helps Chobam a lot. And she's my favorite because she's very down to earth. She's cool and chill all the time. So she's the one that I want to be friend with, or she could be the ideal version of me if I could be like that. So yeah, she's my favorite, but I enjoyed describing director Cha the most, I think.
It's a shame we can't talk about what happened in the last part, because that was really exciting. I did not see that coming. Did you know from the start that this is how it's going to go down?
So right after I started writing the very first chapter, I knew that, oh, this book wouldn't be a single volume. Like, it should be at least duology or trilogy. But after it was awarded, and then my publisher wasn't like envisioning this book into duology or trilogy, because they wanted just a single volume book, because Korean readers don't prefer like long lengths. So they were like, can you finish the story within one book? And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then after they reading the first draft, and they were like, okay, can you write an epilogue that will lead to the second book? Because they love the story, so that they changed their mind. So the story paved its way to duology, and I'm happy about it.
So this is now confirmed that this is going to be a 2 series, or can we also expect the third part, or there's going to be 2 books?
Oh, well, so Snowglobe 2 was published in 2021 in Korea, and it has its own ending, but I don't think that would be the last book sharing the world of Snowglobe, because if I can write another book, I want to do a spin-off about 조미류, because she has so much to talk about, and I just can't wait to show more about her. So well, yeah, I'm open to another book, and if Polish readers want more, then I could write more for them.
Yes, I am positive that they are going to fall in love with this one, and then hopefully with the second one. I have obviously not read the second one, but this one is just amazing. It has a lot of emotional moments for me. Like, a lot of action is happening. Also a lot of, well, I'm not going to say that because that might be a spoiler. How do you feel as a writer when you're writing the most emotional scenes? The most dramatic ones?
Okay, so personally, when I put my main characters in troubles, and when I have to have them like feel all the sorrows or all the tragedies, I feel so good. Because I know that, oh, this is going to be good for readers. So I'm sorry for my characters, but I don't feel guilty when I put them in trouble, because it's good for the book, it's good for readers. But definitely there are some scenes that made me cry, because when I feel the real emotions of the characters, even though it came out of my brain, but still I feel like it's a real thing. So yeah, there are some times that I cry writing manuscript, but most of the time I enjoy putting my characters in trouble.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing to know. And what about, were there any scenes that you decided to leave out of the final book?
Well, it's a sad story, because I was planning to show some love triangle. Between 초밤 and 보내 and 제노. But because there were so many stories to put on, so I didn't have chance to actually draw that love triangle. So, yeah, well, so, and also Snowglobe 2, I tried again to make that love triangle, but also I had so many things to talk about. There were so many things going on, so I didn't have a pages for love triangle. So that's one of my biggest regret, that I eliminated the love triangle. So yeah, but still there are some chemistry between characters. So, and there's going to be more in book 2, so please stay tuned.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. It's sad it got cut out, but yeah, you sometimes have to make a decision like that. But what was in this book, something that was really interesting to me, is the special sport discipline you created. In Polish version, it was called, I think, biathlon. Am I pronouncing it right?
We call it in Korea biathlon.
Ah, sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay, because it's not Korean sports.
Oh, obviously, it's not real.
I think it's like Norway or some countries enjoy that sports. So it's a proper one. It's official sports that exist, but I changed the details.
Yeah. And it, can we talk about the details, or is it a spoiler?
I think we can talk about it.
Yeah, because it was, it had layers. It had different things in there, but ended kind of brutally. So can you walk me through the process of creating that sport?
Actually, it was very simple at first, because when I was building up the world, I was like, I need something unique that only exists in this world, which doesn't exist in our own world. And I was like, I was thinking about Harry Potter, because they have Quidditch for the magician world. And so when I was reading Harry Potter, I was like, oh, so if you enter into a whole new world, then you face whole new sports. So I was like, okay, I need a new sports for this world too. And because biathlon, it's a winter sports, that's why I put that in this book. And then I was like, I need something more spicy. Since this book is like dystopian world, I needed something more brutal. That's why I decided to have like human target at the round 3. And then that sports plays a very important role in book 2. So you will be very amused with that part.
I'm excited to hear that. I really wanted to ask you about the second book, so I'm really excited that you're giving me the details. That's nice. Now that I think about it, I pronounced the sport wrong, and I'm about to pronounce something else wrong, I think. So is it, do you mind if that happens? Is it insulting if people don't pronounce the names correctly?
No, not at all.
No?
Because you don't speak Korean. That's why.
Yeah.
It's simple. And Korean pronunciation is not that easy for foreigners, so I totally understand. And even their names are very unique and sounds very strange to Korean ears, even Korean ears. So I completely understand.
Oh, so that's good to hear, because I was really anxious about that part.
No worries.
I was watching everyone's reviews. I was putting it on translator, trying to prepare myself. So there's a character, the It girl. I think her name is Zocharett. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. She is the idol of many people. Girls look up to her. She's just the perfect girl next door, but also like the big celebrity. So we see that in real world, that people like to idolize someone, even to that extent, like have this one idol. When I was growing up, that was sort of a Justin Bieber or One Direction.
Yay.
Now the K-pop bad boys bands are, I think, the equivalent of that. Was she inspired by a real life person or the phenomenon?
I don't want to make you disappointed, but to be honest, okay, so when I was thinking of the character Harry, I was like, I was like, who did I admire when I was a teenage girl? And the fastest answer was that I wanted to be like Harry Potter. I mean, he's not my favorite character from the book, but I was jealous of his life. I was always wanted to enter, Hogwarts. So I was like, yeah, I admired him so much. So then what if I give his name to this character? Because Harry is usually a boy's name in Western world, but in Korea it's girl's name. So it worked very perfectly. So the role model of Harry was Harry Potter, ironically.
People are going to love this story.
So I didn't think of any certain idol or certain celebrity for Harry. Harry represents all the idols and all the celebrities out there. Yeah, that's it.
And we covered that in the beginning, that you wrote Snowglobe for the contest. But did you expect it to become such a hit?
Nope. Because even though it's my debut novel as paper books, before this, I wrote a web novel, which is like novel that you can read on smartphone. It's also very popular in Korea, and it has very different industry from paper books. And web novel readers, they don't care about sci-fi at all, but I did write sci-fi novel for web novel. So it was a total failure for me. And so I experienced a big failure of my book. So I was like, well, I have nothing to lose. It's like I'm not a famous author or anything, so I don't care if this book would be another failure for me. It's okay. So I had nothing to lose. But after book was published, it attracted so many attentions from not just from readers, but from international publishers and the film industry. So I was like, what is going on?
Completely different experience.
Yeah. So, and still the miracle is still going on. So I don't know what's going to happen next. So, and well, I feel so privileged and I feel so honored and feel so lucky to be a writer who can write whatever she wants, and it's all thanks to the people, including you, who love imagination.
Yeah, that's such a good answer. And now that is actually translated into over 10 languages, it's a dream for many authors to have something like that happen, to have readers around the world. What kind of experience is that? Do you collect your books from different languages when you visit the countries?
Of course. Well, I haven't received my Polish version yet, but definitely I'm going to get copies of it.
You should. It's great.
It's like, even though I cannot read them, I cannot understand them, but it's like my another child, it feels like. And so, of course, I collect every international version. So far, I have Russian version, Thai version, American version, and French and Polish now. So other languages are still in the process, so I cannot wait for them to arrive.
Does the cover change ever, or is it always this illustration?
So I think for a young adult, they don't make different version of the cover every time they are published in different country, because I see many adult novels, they change the covers for each country, but young adults, I don't think it's general. So I haven't have seen like 3 or 4 different covers so far, and I love them.
You love them all?
Well, obviously, there's like favorite or least favorite,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to tell which is which.
I love this one. I haven't seen
Yes.
the other ones, but I think it represents what we see on the inside pretty well without giving anything out there. So
And then also it has the both cover, like inside. This one is
Yes.
Korean version.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is the Korean version and this like English version cover. So it has the both. It's the best.
That is true. And before the book was published, was there anything you were worried about?
At the time, I wasn't a famous author, or I just literally had nothing. I was broke. I was jobless. So, what's to lose? So I didn't worry about anything, and I could have worried about like what people would think about this book or something. But like I said, I wrote it because I wanted to read a book that I really can like. So it feels very surreal every time readers say things like, you know, this is my favorite book, or I love this so much. I've never read a book like this. I finished the book, you know, within a day or something like that. It makes me feel like, oh my, how can it be possible? Like people like what I like. So yeah, I just feel so lucky.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people. It's not like, you know, a couple of them. It's people around the world
Yes.
that are falling in love with this book. So you said you didn't have any expectations, but still, was there anything in particular that surprised you in readers' reaction?
I will tell you some cute anecdotes. Like, so in Korea, I go to middle school or high school for meet and greet with like teen readers, and then there was a student who was like, you know, if I'm gonna have a daughter, I'm gonna name her Chobam. And then he was like, but the only problem is that my last name is not Chun, so it cannot be Chun Chobam. So a friend of his was like, then you should get married with a woman who has the last name of Chun. Then you can name her Chun Chobam. So I was like, well, you know, he said that he loved my book that much so that he wanna name her future daughter the name of my character. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, these were very long-term plans happening there. That's really nice, meeting
Yeah.
your readers and hearing these stories, right?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about reading the reviews? Because I know some writers, they love it, even if they're negative or whatever, but others believe that the reviews are for other readers, not for the writer. So where are you in this?
I love to read all the reviews actually. So right after every book is published, I search for everything like social media, YouTube, and bookstore websites. And sometimes I have this urgent to leave a comment when I meet like very touching review or very heartwarming reviews. But I hold myself back because I don't think that they would expect the writer to see their reviews. So I don't want to make them scared. So even though I don't leave any comments or I don't, you know, make any likes, but I am always checking all the reviews. And this morning, I asked the other Polish YouTuber that I had talked with, like, where can I read Polish reviews? And he let me know this is the best. You can check all the reviews here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have them Google translated.
Yeah, so this is good. So now the readers that are watching this are going to know that you are there, you're reading.
So if you find any like awkward Polish comments, that would be me.
Could you talk to me about the elements of Korean culture in this book? Was it important to you to get readers the glimpse of it? Can you just talk to me about it?
Yeah, so basically the world that I described in this book looks very universal. Even though most of the characters has Korean names, but there's no sign of Korean or any certain countries. So I made it very vague with my intention, but still I made most of them like identified as Korean, and I put some Korean cultural things. For example, there's some, I don't know how it's been translated into Polish, but there's a miok soup. It's like birthday soup. So it's basically a seaweed soup. And in Korea, everyone has that soup on your birthday, like for breakfast. So it's very Korean thing. And then Harry's family, they are having miok soup for Harry's birthday. So I don't think that international readers would recognize why they are having that soup. But if they are interested enough into this book, they might, they could just Google it, what's miok soup or something, then they would learn about Korean culture.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I hope.
Yeah, I'm really happy you said that, because I just took it as a part of the world you created. 'Cause sometimes that happens in books, that authors just make some decision about the plot. So that is good to know. And because this is a dystopian young adult novel, do you ever plan to write something in a completely different genre?
Yes, because currently I'm working on a fantasy novel, which is going to be my first ever fantasy novel, because so far I have worked on sci-fi books. So this fantasy novel is going to be, well, I cannot tell you what it's about because at this point I cannot reveal the details. But what I can tell you for sure is that there's going to be a great amount of spicy romance. So it's going to be a new challenge for me. And I'm very, very excited to describe the chemistry between the characters. And I just cannot wait to show the story to readers.
Yeah, I respect that you can't talk about the story. This is a good detail, but could you talk to me about the experience? What is more difficult to you, writing dystopian or writing fantasy?
So for writing fantasy, I needed to kind of study, because so far I have been worked on sci-fi novels, so I think that I know the rules, and I think what's important in sci-fi novels, something like that. But for fantasy novels, I'm new, even though I was growing with Harry Potter series and I watched all the Lord of the Rings movies and everything, but still I haven't written a single fantasy novel so far, so I needed to study. That's why I started reading all the famous fantasy novels, and right now I have just started reading The Lord of the Rings, because it was like a lifelong goal for me, because it's such a long, big, books. So, but it feels like if I write fantasy novel without having read The Lord of the Rings, it feels like driving a car without a driver's license. So I thought that I must read it. So yeah, for me now, fantasy novel is more challenging, but I truly enjoy that challenge, and I think I am handling pretty well.
Okay, so we're going to wait to see the news once it's out. We're going to wait. We usually have to wait a little longer for things to get translated, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it.
Yes.
And now, I don't know if I can ask this, but I really want to, because, well, let me say this. The way you wrote Snowglobe, it's so easy to imagine certain things. It's almost like watching a TV show. And I read online that there are possible talks about turning Snowglobe into a show. Can you share something about it?
Yes, that's true. It's been adapted into series by CJ, which is one of the biggest and one of the best media company in Korea. So you might have heard of them like with the movie Parasite, or there are so many famous shows that they've produced. So I feel so lucky that one of the best is in charge of making Snowglobe into life. So I just can't wait to watch it on screen. But we are in the early stage of the process, so it's a bit early to talk about what's going on, but for sure there's something's going on. So please stay tuned until the day like we watch Snowglobe on Netflix or somewhere else.
Wow, I didn't know it was already confirmed. I thought there was only talks happening. So that is really exciting. We're definitely going to wait for it here.
Yes.
And I think authors often imagine their characters as certain actors. Did you ever have something like that in mind? Do you have a perfect cast for your characters?
Yes, I had someone in my mind, but at this point, since we are really making this into a series, it's kind of like, should I like say a certain name? Because there's a possibility that she's not going to be, playing as Chobam, or he's not going to playing as Ponhue. So I don't think that I can mention the name, but I will tell you who after.
All right. We can make that a deal. You will take part in writing the screenplay?
No. Because, there are some writers who are being involved with the process of like series or films adaptation, but for me, I could have said yes if they wanted me to be in the part, but they were like, and I agree with them, it's like writing novel and making films are totally different divisions. So I wanted the professionals take the roles because they are the best. So I don't have to worry about them. And that makes me can focus on my writing. Because if I had to work both of them, like writing the screenplay and writing my new novel, then it would have been very hectic for me. So I think this is the best.
Yeah, and it can be really interesting to you to see how it turns out when other people are also involved in the process.
And then they also can, discover something that I couldn't see because they have a different point of view. So yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, you can also see what people take from the story. Yeah, I truly believe that this is going to be also eye-opening for teenagers who decide to read this book, because it is a great metaphor that people really like to idolize other people, even the YouTubers, the influencers, who are not really putting out there anything interesting. They're just showing their lives that are on a bit higher level than theirs, maybe. And yeah, and it's that is how life is right now.
Yes.
So maybe it can be eye-opening to see that we are doing this exact thing.
Yes, because in the book, the people believe that there are certain like people who deserve all the warm and wealthy life, and they think that the reason why I don't live inside of the dome is because I'm not qualified. You know, it's like I have nothing to share with the world, and they just deserve to live like that, and I don't. And they think that's fair. And that's what's happening in our world too, because especially like young girls, they think that there are certain people who deserve more, like influencers. When they showing off their wealth and everything, they feel like because they deserve it, you know, it's like that. But it's not like no one's ever like born with all the wealth or anything. There's nothing to deserve, but people think that it's very natural these days, and I feel so sorry for them sometimes.
Yeah, especially when people compare themselves to what they see online, and that's just not true. That's not the case. It's a young adult novel, but I think a lot of people can take something from the story, can really enjoy it. To me, it was a story about fighting for what's right, for your morals, for just being. I love the strong characters of a girl. And what did you, as a writer, wanted people to get out of this story?
So I have been fascinated by personal identity my whole life, and I feel like recently it's getting harder and harder to shape our own identity in our own way because of the social media. Nowadays, we can compare ourselves to millions of people every minute just by scrolling on smartphone. So that's why I thought that we need a story telling us that the most important identity in the whole world is our own. And throughout the journey of Chobam, I'm sure that Polish readers would have an opportunity to think about these matters and rediscover their true value, and also they can have a chance to embrace themselves once again. So I think this book is for anyone who has ever felt like trapped or lost, or who's going through insecurity matters. I hope that those people would have chance to meet Snowglobe, and while taking the wildest journey, and have a nice time to love themselves again.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is the perfect ending, and I can wait for the second part.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
hope
so
that
much.
we can meet for the second book.
Yes. I
Thank
am
you
going
so
definitely to talk to Polish publisher. I'm going to be very annoying, reminding myself, because yeah, and we'll see how life will change till then. Maybe something more about the show is going to be. You're going to be able to talk about the show more, maybe.
Sure. And so you read the book, and can I ask you, like, who was your favorite character?
Yes, but I am going to pronounce it wrong.
No, it's all right.
I'm gonna try. Please don't laugh at me. It was Yi Bonhue.
Bonhue.
Okay, that wasn't even close.
It's like he has a very difficult name to pronounce because of that. He.
Yeah.
It's no, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, but he surprised me on many levels. I never knew where we were going with this character, so I am very curious to see what's going to happen in the second book. And I'm not gonna take any more of your time, but I wish I could. But you know, you have more conversations today, and I'm just so happy I got the chance to meet you in person.
Yeah. Dziękuję Wam bardzo za obejrzenie tej rozmowy, a jeśli nadal tu jesteście, to oczywiście mam dla Was niespodziankę w postaci podpisanego egzemplarza Snowglobe przez Soyoung Park. I on jest w ogóle tak świetnie podpisany, czyli Dear Zocharett subscriber. To jest świetne, ona w ogóle jest taką cudowną osobą. Ale dobra, do rzeczy. Co zrobić, żeby taki egzemplarz otrzymać? Zostaw pod tym filmem komentarz, w którym napiszesz, odpowiesz na pytanie, za co lubisz dystopię? Dlaczego lubisz czytać dystopię? Natomiast jeśli jeszcze nigdy nie miałeś, nie miałaś do czynienia z tym rodzajem literatury, to po pierwsze zachęcam od rozpoczęcia od tego, naprawdę świetnie się to czyta, ale zanim na dobre odbiegnę od tematu, to żeby nikogo nie dyskryminować, zostaw komentarz o treści, jaki jest Twój ulubiony gatunek literacki i dlaczego. Ja wybiorę jakąś jedną osobę tak gdzieś za tydzień, żeby każdy miał czas sobie na spokojnie tę rozmowę obejrzeć, no i napiszę do kogoś z Was. A tymczasem dziękuję za dzisiaj, było super, dzięki, że oglądacie i widzimy się następnym razem. Pa, pa!